Hey guys! Today I've got for y'all a sequel to my last video where I ranked all the firearms. And this time with melee weapons. I hope you enjoy the video and subscribe if you do. Also join the Discord, link in the description. I'm planning on doing a Q&A video soon and the questions can be submitted there. With that being said, enjoy the video. Side note, these weapons are ranked like the firearm video, based off of how good they are, and how easy they are to get. Plus how cool of a weapon I think they are. 20 is the fishing rod, no surprise here, mainly used for fishing. And a full durability one only did 40 damage. It's simply just not good for actual combat. 19 is the paddle. Only reason it's better than the fishing rod is it has 15 more damage. This weapon is slow, has low damage, and just isn't good to actually use, for both endgame players and new players. 18 is the torch. This weapon is slow, doesn't do much damage, and is expensive to craft. The upsides of this weapon is that it does a bleeding effect which you will see on a lot more of these weapons, and it lights up the location. 17 is the hammer. It has super low damage and isn't the easiest to get, but it does have an incredibly fast swing speed that helps it. 16 is the guitar, a glorified paddle, but its difference is it looks much cooler and is incredibly rare and hard to get. 15 is the makeshift bat. A little faster than the weapons behind it, but it has lower damage and isn't very common. This is really only good for new players who don't have much. This next weapon is one I got a lot of hate for saying it should be removed in one of my videos. And that weapon is the stop sign. I stand by it not being my favorite, but it's not at all the worst of the melee weapons. It has a super slow swing and low damage for how big it is. But for newer players, it's good because of how common it is and its good range. 13 is the spear. Now before you go and start commenting why is the spear so high, it is the OG melee weapon. The weapon everyone made because it's all they could use starting off. Plus it's super good for the raiders and incredibly cheap for how good its range is. Coming in at 12 is the shovel, has a decent damage and range, but it's very slow and shouldn't primarily be used as a weapon. 11 is the golf club. It's got a nice speed and not terrible damage. Plus it's incredibly easy to get and a fun weapon to use. Now to kick off the top 10, I have the baseball bat. It pretty much just the golf club with more damage. Number 9 is the crowbar. This is a good weapon to use due to its super fast swing speed, decent damage, and durability. This is an easy weapon to get and wall trick with. Its only flaw is it does 17 damage and can't be modded. Other than that, it is a very solid weapon. 8 is the cleaver. A really fast weapon that's cheap to craft, easy to get, and is super fast. It can be modded to do 20 to damage, but its base only does 17, making it just a slightly faster crowbar. 7 is the slasher. This weapon is what I consider a heavy hitter, which like the torch has a bleeding effect, dealing a bit of extra damage after a hit. Its biggest downside is like the guitar, it's not common at all and can't be modded. 6 is the scythe. This weapon deals 60 damage in a single hit and is pretty fast compared to the other big hitting weapons. On top of that, it's a fun weapon to use and look at, as well as having a chance to slice a zombie's head clean off. Its downside is it can only be found sometimes at the farm. Coming into the top 5, I have the skull crusher. In reality, it's a weaker, slower, and less cool scythe. The reason it's above it is because of how much more common it is. Now the best big hitter on the list, the saw blade mace. This weapon does a base 55 damage and has a decent swing speed. Plus it's got a reasonable crafting price on top of being as common as the skull crusher. 3 is the metal pipe. It's a fast melee weapon that deals a base 26 damage and is pretty easy to craft. Once you get mods on this weapon, it becomes an instant go-to, and is really good for wall tricking at bunker, alpha. 2 is the katana. This weapon has a base 35 damage and has a really good swing speed. Using this weapon feels super smooth, and I have no complaints about the katana aside from it not being craftable. Now to the number 1. And of course, it's the machete. This weapon is my 10 out of 10 go-to. The base weapon does 30 damage, but it has a really good swing speed and can be modded to do an additional 6 damage. This weapon can be used for pretty much anything, and it's even craftable. The machete definitely is deserving of the #1 spot. And that's the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind later. Also join the Discord to participate in challenges, Q&A and giveaways. Also comment whether you like shorter videos or longer videos. And with that said, I'll catch y'all in the next video.